What is going on, YouTube? Today we got another deck profile here of the Dark World deck. It's an updated list. I haven't uploaded in a little bit because I haven't had too much time to play. Too much work and just not enough time. As you see, I made time to make sure to get this playmat. And this is, like I said, the updated list. Another first place list featuring the Bystials. And if you guys saw the last video, we got 13,000 likes plus now at 200 subscribers. So thank you everybody for the support. There is one card in the extra deck that I just haven't gotten yet, and it is this. It should be an Akashik Magician, I think is how it's pronounced. So we're going to pretend this is a Akashik Magician. But anyway, let's go on again to the deck list. So we're still on the 3 copies of Grapha, the 3 copies of Rainbow. I feel like you just need to play all of these still because of the Bystials in the format, along with the the consistency that they technically give to the deck, having as many names as possible. We're still also a Cerulli hand loop version, but now we got the 3 Snows, the 3 Genta. So that's it for the 3 ofs. I feel like that this ratio is pretty solved at this point, obviously. It doesn't ever feel like that you need more or less of any of these cards. You just need to see all of them. So that's it for the 3 of Dark World monsters. For the other Dark World monsters, we're on 2 Silva, 2 Brow still. I still don't like Brow, but I understand you still got to play it, unfortunately. And then 1 Beige, 1 Cerulli. So while we are hand looping, a lot of issues with the version I uploaded before was it's just so hard to get started sometimes because your hands have so many awkward starts with things like too many Cerullis as an example, where you draw Parl too early, and I just wanted to minimize that. Like, you can still get 2 cards out of this, and sometimes even 4 as well. And I'm not playing the Triple Tactics talents a lot of people are playing. I've seen that a lot more recently because you can trigger it yourself when you give them Cerulli, but it's just a really dead card early in the combo, and it's, like I said, hard to get started, so I just don't play it. 3 to 4 cards is usually good enough with how many negates you get to set up. It forces them to have pretty much exactly things like, as an example, Dark Ruler and Starter. So the danger package got trimmed quite a bit. So we're on 2 Nessie, the 1 Bigfoot, 1 Chupacabra, 1 Mothman, 1 Such, 1 Jack. I really don't like these cards, and I said in my last profile that they were kind of like I played too many, I feel, just because traditionally people are playing 12. I think that's just too many because then they start clogging. You're not seeing enough Dark World cards, etc. And honestly, I feel like this ratio is perfectly fine. The Nesty, I feel like, is the only one I would actually play the extra copy of to make it 10. Or, I'm sorry, to make it 9, since we're counting Catalyzer here as an honorary danger. But even then, the Nessie it's still cloggy. It's still something you don't really want to see all the time. It's just when you want to get started, these are where these are good. Another interesting is a thing I cut with Zephyros. I feel like Zephyros just never did enough. Sure, what I said was true. You just never normal summon most of the time, so it was just a free card. But it also had so many points in my hand where it was just dead, and it caused me to lose games. So I decided to cut it. And we are on Bystials now, 2 and 2. 3 is too little, 5 is too many. You don't really want to see these too often. You kind of want to just draw into them eventually. But yeah, this gives you some form of interaction during your opponent's turn if you get to go second. The likelihood of drawing them is not very high, but it's still a chance, so it's worth playing. And then when you draw these mid-combo, these also help with your combos. And it makes cards like Dark more efficient because now you can take their Bystials and get Druid Swarms out of it. So that's it for the Bystials. Like I said, I think 5 is just too many. For the spells, 3 Gates, 2 Accession. I really do not like 2 Accession. It was a card that when I was testing with at 2, it just always felt cloggy and it never just did enough. But in all honesty, I don't know. it has some scenarios where it's like really good, but I really wanted to play a Foolish Burial Goods for this card because then this is like Foolish Burial is a starter, and you have more ways to start and get going. But I just never took the time to test to see if it was worth it. Still on 1 Archives. Probably the actual best starter when you open 2 Dark Worlds, obviously. Just crazy powerful card. And then we're playing 1 Puppetry. The Puppetry was a lot better when I was on 2 Ceruli, because then that's how you get the 5 to 6 cards out of your opponent, because like you'll draw for turn. You'll activate Puppetry on 3 of your own cards. Cards that can't be Bystialed, so like spells. And then, since it's in their draw phase, you'll summon the Ceruli to their field, and then you'll get the Silva, and you'll get the last 2 cards out of their hands. That's the 6 cards. But like I said, I felt like that was just like too glass cannon-y. I wanted to grind a bit more. Puppetry, however, is just overperforming every time I play it. Card's crazy strong. Highly recommend trying it if you haven't yet. And then 2 Allure Darkness. Still want to play this card because it's just fuel. You don't really care about banishing certain cards. Like, all these cards are pretty expendable, minus like Grapha. And even then, Grapha's pretty expendable, but like all these cards, like you can even start combos with this. Like, there's just like no reason to not play Allure in some capacity, in my opinion. And it's a 39th and 40th card. These felt really good. So, as I mentioned earlier in the profile about Triple Tactics talents, I really don't feel like the card is very good in this deck, just because it has a hard time getting going, and you can't play multiples to draw it sooner, because then your deck just gets more inconsistent. But I do like the idea. I think it's something that's like more of a trap build that I still have been messing and tweaking around with to make it better. So anyway, onto the extra deck. 2 Grapha. Even though we're on 2 a session, we don't need 3 Grapha. It just never comes up. The second one is primarily just here for after you get Dark Ruler or Dropleted, and you still have some piece of interaction. So 2 Grapha, 1 Dugaris, and then the last rank 4 is Baguska. I ended up cutting Dweller just because it doesn't come up at my particular locals. If I was going to a bigger tournament or an unknown locals, like somewhere else out of town, I'd probably find room to fit Dweller. But for me particularly, there's not a whole lot of tier. There's not a whole lot. I don't think there's any other Dark World players, so it just doesn't make sense to play it. Now for a bigger tournament, I can make it like a more competitive, streamlined list if you guys are interested, and then we can play. Like, I can show you that where Dweller would come in. The Coach King card is phenomenal. Titanic Galaxy. So in my last profile, I also said that I would play the Photon Lord. I do own the card now. I do have it. It's just, it felt kind of redundant because you're ending with Apollosa on 3 or 4 with this and this. So like you need the 2 spell negates or trap negates as well for Grapha. So I'm still not playing Photon Lord. I only missed it exactly once, and it was just because my Apollosa got like outed early. So yeah, Cross Sheep still for the combo. Probably the most credible card in the extra deck. This is probably where the Dweller would come in if you wanted to play it. Dark, as I said earlier in the main monsters, that we have the Bystial, so now Dark gets better. We're still not really climbing at anything with it, but it does get a whole lot better now that we have the Bystials. IP for the end board, Muckraker for when your hand's just really bad, or like you're going second, you can just kill them. The Phoenix for the IP. I ended up cutting Unicorn because 3s are harder to make in this deck than just 2s naturally, obviously. And like, you may not trigger Rainbow and Grapha off of this, but you can still get them into the graveyard to continue going, which was really nice. Unicorn never really came up for me, except for my Exo-Sister matchup, but it's not really worth playing for that. And then, like I said before, for the last link too, there should be a Akashik Magician. Security Dragon works, it's just harder to do because Akashik bounces the Silva and the Ceruli, which is really important. But you can still just bounce the Ceruli for this, and you're playing 2, so like if you don't have a Akashik Magician, or you can't find one from like a friend or something to get, then Security Dragon's just fine. I technically have the card, I just haven't met my friend to pick it up off of him yet. So, but yeah, Security Dragon should be a Akashik, but if you don't have access, then it's fine as well. Apollosa for the end board. So one card that like everybody was telling me that I should play was Saryuja, and I understand why. I just don't like the card, but with the Bystial version, where like your plays get interrupted, don't get interrupted as easily, but also just you're able to turbo and keep grinding, and you have like interaction in place of more combo. You kind of need a card like Saryuja to play. Drawing 4 and putting back 3 is crazy strong, obviously. It puts back everything you don't really need, or like multiples if you already activated some of the dangers. It also gives you a free body. Like, Saryuja is crazy. I should have been playing it before. And then the last card is Underworld Goddess. I definitely don't feel the need to play multiple Saryujas like some people are. It feels like overkill at that point, but with Underworld Goddess, you at least have like the ability to out things like the Arrival Cyber, something that Dark World has always struggled with traditionally, is just a Towers type monster that they cannot affect with their multiple like destruction effects. So having it out is clean, and it's really easy to make because you can flood the board and then reflood very easily. But the extra deck felt really nice now that it's like more streamlined again. If you were taking this to a real tournament or your locals as a Leviteer, this is probably like the first cut for the Abyss Dweller. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Sorry we haven't uploaded this much. Like I said, work is a little bit chaotic right now with the holidays, and I just haven't had time to play as much. But we're going to be working on that more. We're at 200 subs now, which I cannot thank everybody enough for subscribing. And, you know, the overwhelming support of the last video still has me, like, shook. Like, I was never expecting a video to get 13,000 views in the time frame that I did. So thank you for everybody for all the support. We're going to do this as often as I can. I have some feature match, like, recording equipment now, so we can actually get more of those in. And, yeah. If you like the video, remember to comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what variants of the deck you would like to see, what type of dual videos you would like to see, and like other decks as well. Because while this is still my favorite deck of all time, I still do have multiple other ones that I enjoy, like Sprite and Crystal Beast. So I can always upload those as well if you guys are interested in my takes of the decks. Just let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. Peace, YouTube.